Guam, IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dedido. Always open, always local.
Coming up on Prime Time, he's sorry. GVB Vice President Bobby Alvarez's response to a post that he made on Facebook. Plus, our Nestor Locanto has the latest on a decree issued by the Pope regarding sexual abuse cases. And the now infamous Jigo bus stop gets a much-needed facelift from a group of concerned citizens.
Hafaday and good evening. Sorry, that's what Guam Visitors Bureau Vice President Bobby Alvarez has to say after a social media post leads to some Facebook drama. Chris Barnett has more.
United Airlines is, quote, a downgrade. United Airlines, quote, needs some competition and a lesson in customer service. The airline, quote, a complete disappointment since its inception on Guam. And to top it all off, in case you didn't know what they were really thinking, 3 thumbs down emojis. Sounds like a post you may come across on Facebook, but when that post belongs to the Vice President of the Guam Visitors Bureau, Bobby Alvarez, that post may raise some eyebrows, especially when you consider the close relationship United Airlines and GVB have. The post since deleted off Alvarez's Facebook account, but in the day and age of screenshots, that post lives on WhatsApp.
First of all, Chris, let me apologize to United Airlines for the comments. It was, United Airlines has been nothing but a great partner for us. They've been working with GVB for so long. We've actually have so much business going on with them. They support our events. So, I'd like to apologize to United Airlines first.
Alvarez, who pulls down $125,000 a year in salary and benefits as GVB's second in command, called his Facebook post a teachable moment for himself and other high-ranking Guam officials.
I guess what it really comes down to is I need to remind myself, I'm an official now, and I got to be a little bit more careful. I think this is a good lesson, for me to be careful, and for anybody in particular, be careful when you're an official to just be careful the words you use.
With United Airlines as the signature sponsor of the United Guam Marathon and United's Asia Pacific Managing Director Sam Shinohara filling the treasurer's seat on GVB's board of directors and even considering Alvarez's position as Guam's #2 tourism official, Alvarez still said his comments had nothing to do with tourism.
Again, I say that the comments made have no reflection on the tourism industry, but I do think that I could have said this a lot better, and I own it, and it's mine, and I apologize for it.
Meanwhile, acting Governor Josh Canello says Alvarez should have known better.
The statements by Bobby, although they were personal in nature, he's a public official. You probably should think twice about pushing things out like that.
Alvarez says a family member's experience with the airline prompted him to write the post, and now he says he, quote, could have said things a lot better. While Alvarez's original post bashing on United has since been deleted, an apology post can be found on his Facebook. It was a bad judgment call on my part, and I'm owning up to it. Alvarez's apology post reads, we asked the vice president of GVB if he was going to be fired or asked to step down from his position because of the Facebook drama. Here's what he said.
Absolutely not.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Every archdiocese across the globe must now report and investigate any allegations of sexual misconduct. It is the latest move by the Vatican to address a child sexual abuse crisis that has rocked the Catholic Church, including right here on island. Nestor Locanto reports.
The new decree by Pope Francis is meant to hold bishops directly accountable for sexual abuse cases, says Archdiocese of Agana Chancellor Father Ron Richards.
What this is added to as well is a reporting of bishops, which clearly we here on Guam were personally affected by, with former Archbishop Apparon and everything that's gone on in that.
More than 200 child sexual abuse cases have been filed against local clergy, including Apparon himself, and Father Richards concedes that for victims, this may be too little, too late.
People can say that, and that can be a legitimate argument, right? But it was done, and it's a good thing that it happened. And did it happen too late? Yes, but it happened. So I think we should embrace the fact that this actually is now mandated.
We also spoke with concerned Catholics of Guam President David Sablon, who says while they generally support the latest decree, they want to make sure it doesn't just stay in-house. Father Richards says it won't.
If someone comes forward with something, we're going to go to civil authorities with it. You know, and this is even if it happened 20 years ago, because we'll let the civil authorities decide whether there should be civil prosecution or not. We're not going to make that decision. We'll give it to them, and they might say it's out of the statutes of limitations. There's nothing we can do. That's fine, but from an ecclesiastical point of view, there's stuff we can do.
Sablon also worries about the church's support for the accused and the perception it gives off to potential victims.
We can't just cut them off and then they have no source of income. They're living on the street or anywhere to live. And I realize that's a difficult thing for people to understand. You haven't tried this person. It's an accusation at this point. We absolutely would put them on administrative leave. They would be on leave, not allowed to any type of active ministry while the process is going on.
He says many of the safeguards against sexual abuse were implemented when Archbishop Michael Burns arrived 2 years ago, but he admits there may be many who still question the church's resolve and if it's capable of policing itself.
I would say someone who's skeptical is going to say no. And I can understand that because the proof of what's gone on in the past doesn't lend to why should I believe you now that you've just written that down there. And I respect that. I can't speak for what happens all over the world, but I can speak for what's happening here on Guam. And that there is no intention of hiding anything. We have a review board here in which the motu proprio allows for the development of. We have that here, and they are informed of everything. And to make sure that things are taken care of and children are protected. That's their focus.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
An update on the archdiocese bankruptcy case. The church has sent out notifications about an important deadline for sexual abuse proof of claims that must be filed with the clerk of the District Court of Guam. According to court documents, if you believe you have a sexual claim, the form must be received by the court by no later than August 15th at 5 p.m. The forms must be filed even if you filed a lawsuit against the archdiocese alleging sexual abuse even prior to when it filed bankruptcy in January. More than 200 people have filed child sexual abuse cases against the archdiocese. You can find the forms on our website. Meanwhile, the archdiocese has filed a motion to reduce the purchase price of the redemptoris seminary or Hotel Action property by $50,000. The original price was $5.4 million. According to court documents, the reduced price was based on a buyer's investigation of the property, which included unanticipated electrical and plumbing repairs that are needed, the fact that the large electrical generator that supplies power to the entire site is missing, and copper piping that had been removed from the property. Objections to the sale have been filed by the Berman, O'Connor and Mann law firm, as well as the Lujan and Wolf law firm. A hearing on the sale has been scheduled for May 31st. A federal consent decree and order comes down against the Verona Hotel in a discrimination case filed against management. Polaris LLC, Verona's owners, must pay Rita Siguenza $16,000. Siguenza filed a federal EEO complaint against Verona after she was fired in 2014. She alleges the hotel did not allow her to follow doctor recommendations for her pregnancy-related diabetes. Siguenza alleges Verona discriminated against her on the basis of sex and disability, and the feds filed suit in 2017. Verona must also provide managers with EEO training for managers and employees. The hotel is also mandated to retain a third-party monitor to verify it is in compliance with EEO. As reported, Verona has faced 15 local Department of Labor wage and hour complaints affecting over 100 employees since 2013. However, local DOL has not issued a single penalty against the hotel or its owner, David Sue. The CCU will resume its meeting Tuesday for further discussion on management pay raises. Last week, the commission accepted the legal advice of outside counsel Vince Leon Guerrero and voted to rescind the raises and bonuses of 7 top executives, including the GPA and GWA general managers. But there is a question of whether 4 other executives should be allowed to keep their increases. Commissioner Simon Sanchez asked Leon Guerrero about the assistant general managers for administration and engineering for GPA and the AGMs for admin and compliance for GWA.
Those 4 assistant general managers, does the law allow the CCU to set their pay? Like I don't believe it does.
I didn't see that in there.
Okay, I don't see it either.
Sanchez says they should be allowed then to keep their raises. The CCU also wants to hear from outside counsel about a timetable for the executives to return the raises and bonuses. Attorney Leon Guerrero is expected to report back to them at Tuesday's meeting. Last week, we ran a story about a bus stop that was zero down in the dumps, literally. Over the weekend, a group of random individuals were inspired to do the dirty work to clean things up.
A random act of kindness. That's what the Refu Puipui group called their efforts to clean up the bus stop riddled with garbage we featured last week, where a homeless man took up refuge. The group is made up of a bunch of guys from the village of Faup in Chuk. In a message exchange over Facebook, one of the group members explained, quote, "We tried to do positive activities to inspire our brothers and sisters from our island, including our very own beloved island of Guam," end quote. When we asked the Refu group what inspired them, their response was, "It was our story that prompted them to take action," saying, quote, "We need to work together to keep our island clean. We hope that by doing this, we can inspire others to act on any part of our island," end quote. We reported also that the Micronesia Climate Change Alliance was planning on doing a cleanup this weekend. MCCA founder and president Michelle Voacolo says she's happy to see the community take responsibility. Her organization has in fact adopted the bus stop, and they plan on moving forward with their operation, but now plan on painting the bus stop to spruce it up some more, as well as cleaning up the surrounding area, which is still plagued with trash that has been dumped. But this still leaves the question of the homeless man. What will happen to him? We asked the Refu cleanup crew for more information due to the language barrier, and according to the men from Faup, Chuk, the gentleman's name is Fanongong, and they are trying to reach out to his family to see if they can take him back into their home to care for him. The group claims that Fanongong wants to go back to Chuk, but he doesn't have his passport. KUAM previously sent a request for interview to the FSM Consul General on this matter. We followed up today and asked also if there's anything they can do to help Mr. Fanongong get back to Chuk. They still have not responded as of news time. As you can see, not only did the gentlemen from Refu Puipui group clean up the area with garbage, but they also cut the overgrown grass and some of the trees that were encroaching into the bus stop. Not only did they do that, but they went to the trouble of collecting the hard garbage and set it aside on the road. We'll find out if DPW is able to come down and pick it up. But unfortunately, the gentleman who's taken up residence in the bus stop is still here and is still homeless. As to what his fate will be, we'll have to find out, and we'll keep following up on this story. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Julius Santos.
She had let her dogs out through a sliding glass door in the morning and later found a man inside her living room. It was a frightening moment for the victim, who says John Anthony Salas told her he hadn't rested for 2 days, just came from running all morning and was from New York. Fearing for her life, the victim couldn't call but managed to send a text message for help. Her neighbor and the Chalanpago mayor, as well as his staff, responded. The 29-year-old ran out of the home, but police caught him. Salas was charged with criminal trespass and unlawful restraint, both as misdemeanors. In Mongmong, a man who decided to spend a couple days with his parents returned home on Sunday to find it in disarray and 2 males sleeping in one of the bedrooms. When police arrived, they found the males, one a minor, appearing to be intoxicated with bloodshot red eyes and slurred speech. Tyson Adinawin told police he didn't believe he did anything wrong because the victim had been gone for a week, so he decided to go inside the house to hide and drink. Adinawin was charged with criminal trespass as a misdemeanor. Balti Fossey faces charges of family violence and child abuse. The charges stem from a walk-in complaint filed on Mother's Day at the Dededo precinct. Fossey is accused of choking a woman because she refused to give him money. He's also accused of slapping a 9-year-old boy because he wanted to go outside. The governor's office announced it has returned some $3.8 million to the E911 fund that the FCC says was wrongly diverted for other purposes by the previous administration. Last July, FCC Commissioner Michael O'Reilly sent notice to the Calvo administration that Guam was one of several jurisdictions in the U.S. that was found to have been illegally diverting the money from monthly customer fees for other government obligations. Shortly after taking office this year, the Leon Guerrero administration promised to pay back the money. In a news release, Adelup says it was able to do so by managing our cash without affecting any critical services. Now that the fund was made whole, Acting Governor Josh Tenorio says the fire department can move forward with the upgrade of its next generation E911 system. On Sunday at about 1:08 p.m., 911 received a call of a trash fire in Barrigada. Guam Fire Department units from Tamuning and Barrigada arrived to Vince Crisostomo Street minutes later to what initially was a grass fire but spread to surrounding debris and trash to include junk vehicles. The fire was contained a couple hours later. According to Acting GFD spokesperson Charika Chargalafe, Guam EPA representative was on scene and is currently under investigation. Stay tuned. We're back with more news right here on Primetime.
There are more ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
We value relationships because when we commit,
I love you guys until you're 80, until you're 90, until you're 100, forever.
We are in it for the long run, so you can enjoy the moments that matter. Because when we commit to relationships, we never stop caring. Calvo's Select Care, health care that is always there for you.
The most delicious union of all time is now on Guam. Kentucky Fried Chicken and Waffles for limited time at KFC.
MTO, professional janitorial services with a warm hospitality touch. MTO gives that gift year-round. Pressure wash roofs, pressure wash driveways, lawn service, home cleaning, carpet restoration, office cleaning, commercial window cleaning, floor care. When cleaning is in order, MTO has you covered. Call 647-6861 to inquire on how you can receive the maintenance you deserve.
MTO, celebrating 30 years with you, Guam.
Welcome back with regional headlines. Here's KSPN 2 News.
Half a day, Guam. Here's what's making news in the CNMI.
It's a controversial issue that has two sides, and one of those sides starts right here.
Cockfighting is now illegal in all of the United States.
It's an $867 billion farm bill called the Agriculture Improvement Act of 2018, a law that bans cockfighting in all U.S. territories. Congressman Khalili Sablan says the law was passed in December of 2018, and although he has tried to get the CNMI exempt from the ban, there was no success, as there are too many people supporting this law.
We all gave it a good fight. The support for the ban was just too large for us to get it taken out. Cockfighting here is looked at the same as dog fighting. They're considered cruel and inhumane, I guess. But the argument that is part of culture just didn't fly this time.
Culture. That is the exact word that comes to mind when many people in the CNMI think of the long-standing tradition that goes back decades.
We understood that when we become Commonwealth, we knew that a lot of the federal agency and other laws would be probably commingling with some of our culture. We know that from the beginning. How we feel about it? Well, we're kind of a little shocked because we were expecting it a little later. We know that the organization is very strong in parts of the U.S. We felt that we've been betrayed on that one because in our covenant there's a mutual agree. Two-person has to be mutual. And that one, without consultation of the Chamorro and Carolina, they just came in and slammed that thing.
Others feel the law is necessary to protect the animals and cut back on the other crimes that become closely connected, such as gambling, drugs, and acts of violence.
I think it's not fair for the chickens to fight, because they're animals too. I think if this can help in the state of the Saipan or in the economy, or it can stop the illegal gamblings that's happening here, maybe that's a good thing.
When the law goes into effect December of this year, some individuals feel the sport will go underground.
I've never disrespected the law in my life. I'm only saying it that I don't know what I will be facing in the future, but it kind of mixed up the sentiment that we have.
Ultimately, individuals that are opposing the ban just want compromise to open up discussion between the federal government and locals that partake in the cockfighting.
We feel hurt actually that federal just came into the Commonwealth, and we still believe that we still have the rights to sit down mutually and air that out with the federal government.
From one side, it's a blood sport, causing harm as roosters fight until death. On the other side, it's not just an activity. To some, it's a lifestyle, a tradition. Reporting for KSPN2, I'm Ashley McDowell.
Watch these top stories and more at saipantv.com. For KSPN2, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Back to news here at home. Over the weekend, a mobilization ceremony was held for Guam National Guard soldiers. About 205 members from the 1st Battalion, 294th Infantry Regiment departed this morning to Fort Bliss, Texas for final training before heading out to support a peacekeeping mission in the Sinai Peninsula. According to a press release from Major Josephine Bloss, the soldiers will be a part of a team consisting of about 12 countries who supervise the implementation of the security provisions of the 1979 Egyptian-Israeli Treaty of Peace. The Guard asks the public for their continued support, as this mobilization will also have a significant impact on the Guam National Guard, which joins more than 50 airmen who are still deployed abroad in support of Operations Inherent Resolve and Freedom Sentinel. And with the group deploying, we welcome home 6 airmen from the Guam Air National Guard's 254th Security Forces Squadron who returned home on Saturday. The airmen who were deployed in support of Operation Inherent Resolve were tasked with the protection of federal property from hazards such as sabotage, espionage, trespass, theft, fire, and accident, or willful damage and destruction. A proclamation signing for Gold Star Family Awareness Month was held today. The term Gold Star is reserved for families that have endured the loss of a relative in military service. It is derived from the World War I practice of placing a gold star over a service flag's blue star after a service member was killed in combat. 3 Gold Star family members were on hand for the occasion. Dorothy Lukiala's son, Sergeant Joshua Lukiala, was killed in Afghanistan in 2010. Jane Petrie's daughter, Private First Class Jacine Petrie, was killed by an improvised explosive device in 2010 in Afghanistan. And Abraham Mora's brother, Sergeant Samson Mora, was killed in Afghanistan in 2008 when an improvised explosive device hit his vehicle. The month is meant to recognize and acknowledge Gold Star families and their sacrifice and share their pride as they remember and honor their fallen family members. The 2019 Teacher of the Year was awarded by the Foundation of Public Education and GDOE at the Teacher of the Year Gala held on Friday at the Hyatt. A big congratulations goes out to Atikow Elementary School's Annalyn Palugood. Palugood is an English as a second language teacher for 3rd through 5th graders and has been teaching for about 12 years. She will be representing Guam in Washington, D.C. later this year as an exemplary model of Guam's public school teaching system. And you'll want to make sure to tune in, because immediately following this newscast, we have our KUAM news special that features all 6 semifinalists for Teacher of the Year, and we speak with this year's winner. Stay tuned. Sports is coming up next.
Make every day a plus. Legends aren't born, they are made. And during our Jeep Celebration event at Cars Plus and Mighty, you'll receive up to $6,000 in accessories with the purchase of a new Jeep Wrangler, Motor Trend SUV of the Year. Customize your new Jeep to the way you want it. Or how about a new Jeep Grand Cherokee? Save up to $5,000 or save up to $7,500 on a new Jeep Compass Sport. It's our Jeep Celebration event going on now at Cars Plus and Mighty. Cars Plus, driven by you.
This is a bag. But for Steve, this bag gives him food cred. Because now everyone knows that when they have that craving, or they're just looking for the perfect deal, well, they just need to follow Steve.
Follow him all the way to the new McTerry Deluxe at McDonald's. It's an all-beef patty smothered with teriyaki sauce topped with lettuce and tomato on a sesame seed bun. For a limited time, price and participation may vary.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. We get the show started tonight with some news out of the GNOC as IOC President Thomas Bach was on island visiting some of these sports facilities and meeting with some of the island leaders. Check it out. The IOC president met with members of the Guam National Olympic Committee, stakeholders, national teams, and athletes during his visit. He spoke about how the IOC will be distributing around $5 billion to the 206 National Olympic Committees worldwide. Bach is the 9th IOC president and was elected to an 8-year term at the 125th IOC session in Buenos Aires on September 10th, 2013. He is a German lawyer and former Olympic foil fencer. President Bach visited the Guam National Basketball Training Center in Teason and the Leo Palace Resort along with other GNOC facilities. The main purpose of the trip was to see firsthand where the funding from the IOC has gone and where improvements can be made at the different sporting venues. IIAAG Girls High School Soccer quarterfinals from St. John's Field. The Knights at home facing the St. Paul Warriors. The last meeting between both teams ended in a draw. Knights keeper Hannah Fernandez kept St. Paul scoreless in the first half before leaving the game for a school play at halftime. Kaya Malakuti would take over and hold it down for the home team. After the final whistle blew ending regulation, both teams went back to their sidelines to prepare for a shootout. St. John's would win the shootout 2-1 and will now play the defending champions Notre Dame Royals this Wednesday. The Royals advance after beating out the Ukudu Bulldogs 4-1, setting up the showdown with the Knights. Guam High shut out Harvest 6-0 and will meet up with the Academy Cougars in the other semifinal matchup after Academy was victorious against Teason 4-0. Bud Light Guam Women's Tackle Football League action from the UOG field. Team Legacy improved to 2-0 this season after handling their business against the Sandalo Raiders 18-0. Olivia Flores Elliott taking it to the house for the 45-yard touchdown run. Sandalo Raiders deny Legacy on the point after attempt. Legacy ball hawking defensively. Serena Camacho and Christiane De La Cruz get in on the tackle for a loss here. Letitia Bloss breaks a tackle and bounces it to the outside for a short gain. Alana Garcia would score her team's first and last touchdown of the game for the second straight week, leading the way for the defending champions rushing game along with teammate Elliott.